Hello, 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 and welcome to NGB Business News, the greatest news commentary channel on YouTube. You already know we've got some really juicy topics today. Tensions in China and the US. Apparently, they're making some moves over in Taiwan that we don't really like. That's really starting to bring up these tensions. You already know we have the whole Russia-Ukraine situation where we're giving money to Ukraine. We don't want China to, come over and influence Russia. So tensions are going crazy, and I can't lie, China's kind of winning it right now, with the balloon and everything. They threatened us a little earlier at whatever summit they had, their new foreign minister, and right now, I can't lie, they're making us kind of look bad. We've also got, apparently, Meta or Facebook is putting out something new to combat Twitter, which I think should be really interesting. It's almost a little interesting though because Twitter isn't as regulated, as what Facebook probably will end up making. So I feel like that's a lot of the reason people really like Twitter. But we'll see. We'll see what's going on with that. So we've got that going on. Donald Trump has a essay or a grape charge, you know what I'm saying, that he's dealing with. And apparently some of that new evidence is going to be released to the public from, I don't know if it's Hollywood Unlocked, but basically some Hollywood footage, is going to be released. So that's going to be really interesting, especially to see how this case plays out. Especially because Trump's over here talking about even if he gets convicted of anything, he's still running in 2024. So like I said, Trump might be our first felon president. I don't think that... I believe that presidents have committed felonies, but I don't think they've been convicted of felonies before running for office. So you all know that's pretty interesting. And of course, we're going to get into this whole Silicon Valley Bank collapse and everything like that. Kind of touch on that a little bit in a lot of different aspects. It reminds us a lot of the FTX collapse and everything like that. I think this really shows us a lot about the direction that our economy is going with this recession. That, some people like to say we're not in a recession yet. Guys, we're pretty much, and it's a recession. It's a recession. So there's a lot to talk about, and I got my Miller High Life with me. Guys, like, comment, subscribe, all that helps the channel grow. We can really get the news going, really get the conversations growing. You guys have been showing tons of love, so I definitely appreciate that. And let's go ahead and get into the first topic. Get a sip of my beer before we get started. Now, I appreciate all of you guys who tune in. Now, it says China holds military advantage over the U.S. as Washington prepares for the conflict over Taiwan. Retired general. So let's see what's going on. So it says, let me get rid of this. I realized last stream I had left that on. All that is from downloading like a thumbnail. It just pops up at the bottom in G Chrome. But now it says concerns over a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. Sounds like a black kid, Little Taiwan. What? Get back in here, man. Get back inside. Getting off topic though. But yeah, continues to mount with Beijing now suspected of involvement in damaging some of the island nation's undersea internet cables this week in another show of deliberate harassment. So, basically, as you guys know, China doesn't really like Taiwan and everything like that. The U.S. comes into defense of Taiwan. We do a lot of trading there. That's kind of why China has a huge problem with us in the first place. Is because we do a lot of trading in that whole region, which is really their region, and the US and China are the two biggest trading partners in the world. So obviously we're going to clash. It's kind of like one of those things where we need each other to survive, but we don't like each other. When you kind of like two brothers, they got to get along, but they're still going to fight. They're not necessarily going to be too happy about it, but they have no choice. Now it says the disruption to Taiwan's internet was not only a nuisance for the land's inhabitants and visitors, it also revealed a significant implications for Taiwan's national security. Yeah, I mean, obviously that's going to be a huge security threat. Imagine if another country was able to come over here and, like my boy said, comms, like communications. Like he's just gotten crazy about Call of Duty and like he started using terms like comms. But yeah, like it's definitely a bad look if another country is able to, pretty much intercept your communications or your internet or your network. I mean, that obviously shows a lack of national security and defense. You shouldn't be able to, that shouldn't just be able to happen that easily. Now, this is what I wanted to say too. We don't necessarily know that China did this, I'm assuming. And when that's pretty much what it says here. It says there is no definitive evidence that China purposely cut the internet lines, but the incident brought renewed attention to what an attack on Taiwan might look like and whether the U.S. would be able to adequately stop it. Here you can see these are Taiwan soldiers. It says they're carrying shells through a fire drill. Shoot, I would be having a fire drill too if I was living that close to China, you know. Now, it says here, U.S. war games involving a Chinese takeover of Taiwan generally involve large-scale amphibious attack that would quickly and effectively or efficiently take the island and its international allies by surprise. I mean, obviously, with the United States, it's not like we're going to go straight through the east, go through all of the European countries. So in the event that there would be some type of warfare like that, Lord forbid, obviously we would have to go the other way to the west, sliding out from California. And really, we would really have to consider it more of, like he said, an amphibious attack or an attack from water versus, more land mass types of, conflict. Now it says President Biden, Sleepy Joe. How sleepy can you get? I feel like every time you mention Biden or Trump, you got to take a sip. Now, he said he will send troops to counter a Chinese land invasion. He said that? Wow. I'm surprised he's kind of talking a little early, China's not really someone to just play with. So you talking about sending troops? Like, I mean, that's hot water you're putting yourself into, which would likely prompt responses from other regional U.S. allies and could make this form of assault costly and deadly for all parties involved. We attack China. China's allies are going to step up. They're going to attack us. You know what I'm saying? Our allies are then going to step in and, attack China. And it's just going to be an ugly situation. You already know, ugly all the way around. Same thing with the same situation with Russia, Russia, attacks Ukraine. We throw a lot of money and or hopefully not troops into Ukraine. Russia gets back up from China. Now you got everybody fighting in this World War III, which we definitely don't want to happen. Plus, we don't know what China's been on. Like, they've been staying down to the come up. We don't know. We saw they had those attack robot dogs and everything. It's like, if you guys haven't seen, it's like a robotic dog that has like a gun on its back and it can like aim and like shoot and things like that. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying we couldn't beat China in a war. I'm just saying, like, we don't want to get into, we don't want that smoke with them. They got a lot of people. They got a lot of money. Like, it's not what you want. Now, it has also prompted questions over whether the U.S. is capable of engaging with China in a traditional kinetic attack like the ongoing war in Ukraine. Now, it says retired General Jack Keane, a Fox News senior strategic analyst, said China does have a military advantage. So this is interesting, especially coming from a general who would understand war tactics and things like that. And he's saying China's got an advantage. That's something that we need to take into account, before we start putting too much pressure on China, putting too much pressure on Russia, with the Ukraine situation, because this can backfire and have dire consequences. Now he says they have more ships, more airplanes, more offensive and defensive missiles than the United States has. I didn't know that. I mean, obviously we want to look into it a little bit more, but I didn't know that. But there's always the thing where when you're an American, you always assume that you're bigger and badder than the rest. You always assume that you're kind of smarter. I mean, like, come on now. We all know, like, as like, shout out to my people watching in America and everything like that. Americans kind of have that like chip on their shoulder and everything like that, where we think we do everything the best and everything like that, which is not true. Obviously, the United States is way better than living in some type of third world country, but I don't know why we think that we're like the happiest nation when really we're one of the least happy and most overweight nations that there are right now. Like, but we do have money, kind of. Recession. But in general, technically, you guys know we have money. Now here's joint military drills from the Marines in the U.S. and the Philippines, which is another thing that the Chinese don't like. We're doing military drills in their region. You know what I'm saying? Like we would feel some type of way if the Chinese were, let's say, doing military drills in Canada, Mexico, you know what I'm saying? Like somewhere even lower, like El Salvador, we will still be like looking like, what they got going on? You know what I'm saying? Like what y'all doing over there across the river? You know what I'm saying? Now it says a war game conducted by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, earlier this year simulated what would happen following an amphibious attack on Taiwan by the People's Republic of China, and it revealed that the U.S. will likely run out of long-range precision guided missiles within a week, which is bad. That is bad. Within a week? Come on, think about how long the Russian-Ukraine situation started. I know we all thought the Russian-Ukraine situation was going to be a clean sweep of Ukraine. I was looking at my watch, I was like, Ukraine probably can hold out for about a month or two. And now they've held out for what, over a year? If not well more than that. Like, this has really become a full-scale war, a full-out war. It's been pretty crazy. Now it says the only advantage militarily that we have is our nuclear submarines, pointing out that even with that advantage, we still need more of these specialized subs. So he's basically saying, yo, this is not a fight that we want to be in. This is not a fight that we want to start because it will not turn out well for us. Now it says he argued this form of warfare was unlikely to be how China would actually carry out an assault. And the president, Jinping, is said to have slated for 2027, according to U.S. defense officials. So a little bit of time, but when you're talking in terms of war, it's really not that much time. You know what I'm saying? It's really not that much time at all. Now it says a more likely scenario would be a quarantine or a blockade of Taiwan, where China would attempt to control the airspace as well as the sea lanes to gain control of it without firing a shot, which I think would be a very smart tactic to go about it. Instead of just all-out war, this person's already in your region. The person that you assume is going to be able to defend themselves the most is literally all the way on the other side of the world. So aid's not going to get there as fast. Like they said, we don't really have enough long-range weapons to just be shooting weapons over into Taiwan or China, and everything like that. So, some type of quarantine probably would be the way that they would go about this, I would assume. And obviously that protects the Chinese soldiers, possibly, the civilians of Taiwan. Lord forbid any of this happened. But if it did, that's how it would go down. They also said they have more airplanes and everything than us. So, and I believe more ships. We have more subs. But if you have more airplanes and ships, then that means they could easily, build this blockade, hold the U.S. out while basically strangling, Taiwan of its resources until they have no choice but to give up. Now, so speaking to reporters at the Air Force or Air and Space Forces Association Warfare Symposium, geez, that's quite a word, in Colorado on Wednesday, General Kenneth Woolsback said, "You saw when Speaker Pelosi went to Taiwan what China did with their ships. They put them on the east side of Taiwan as sort of a blockade. We've got to sink these ships." Now, how the U.S. would respond to a blockade on Taiwan or the slow takeover of smaller islands connected to Taiwan remains unclear. It almost seems too like a Vietnam type of situation where this is Taiwanese land, but this is still China's region. So, like I said, how I compared it to Vietnam is, even if the Taiwanese people are not, a factor in this, if we're fighting on Taiwan's land or in China or anything like that, or just in that region, they're always going to have that type of advantage. And if our nations are very equal in military power and everything like that, that advantage I feel could be the one that could tip the scale. And that's probably why China really has so little fear of us. A lot of other nations, we say something, they may back down. Russia and China, they not hearing it. They not going for any of that. They'll talk to us exactly how they want to. And that's exactly what they've been doing. They've really been kind of roasting the US, in my opinion. They've been pretty disrespectful. But what can you do? Are we gonna go to war with China? Nope, not unless we have to. And we shouldn't. Now, we're in a position here where we have to build up our deterrence capability. We want that to prevent a war. And here's some more operations in the Philippines. And we'll take a look at this about the White House pretty much saying that they didn't want conflict with China and everything like that. This is after, of course, their new foreign minister came out guns blazing. He came out guns blazing. He was like, we don't like how the U.S. is treating us with trade. They're treating us like a child. They're boxing us in, you know, and everything like that. And with them being the first or second largest economy in the world, they're not going to be happy about that. That's enough for people to fight about. You know, if we've learned anything about these countries, they will fight for a business interest. And China is no different. And the U.S. is no different. Now, he said to deter China from prompting a war that would involve two major superpowers, the U.S. would need to drastically ramp up its arms production, weapon stockpiles, and the development of advanced missile systems like hypersonic missiles. We will also need to better arm Taiwan and fill the current backlog of arms that America has owed to the island. So apparently we owe them weapons that we probably are sending over to Ukraine and everything like that. And also, yeah, I mean, strengthening the Taiwanese military would probably be a pretty good idea, since we're going to be all the way over in the United States. And if they can't defend themselves, it will be possibly a clean sweep. I don't want to say that because Ukraine proved that can be otherwise, you know. But like it says here, Taiwan by themselves could never defeat the Chinese military, but they could impose significant costs on China. We got a 19 billion with a B backlog on military equipment that Taiwan has already purchased and everything like that. They don't need a handout in terms of military equipment. They can buy it themselves. So they need the equipment. They've got the order in it. Basically, the U.S. just got to give them the equipment. But we already know the U.S. is very good at owing people money. We essentially, we love owing people money because we never pay it back. Now it says the U.S. is not the only nation in the region with a vested interest in making sure Beijing does not take control of the island. Australia, South Korea, Japan, and the Philippines, which have endured overt Chinese aggression for years, have thrown their weight behind the U.S. as well. So obviously, North Korea does not like us, but South Korea loves us. Shout out to South Korea. My dad was stationed in South Korea for a good period of time. As far as I'm concerned, I think he really liked it. He used to have some burgers and ramen noodles together, and nice little stories from times in South Korea. And that'll obviously kind of hurt China, but we don't really see many of these countries as being really threats. Not only are they small, but they even though they have decent sized economies like South Korea, especially Japan, the Philippines, as you know, they have a lot of very lucrative cities. We don't think any of these could really go up against China, do we? There's only a few nations that could even stand a chance against such a nation such as China. That would probably be something like European countries almost as a nation. The United States, Russia, possibly, I don't know what Germany's military is looking like nowadays. But says this is all necessary because when we bring the aggregate coalition together with the United States, we begin to match China's capability. So this is really like telling us like the US is not as militarily ready to fight China should need be. He's talking as if, one, we're down from a regional standpoint, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like Vietnam. Two, we don't have the equipment that would be needed to even fire. They said our long-range missiles would only last about a week. That's not going to do it. That's not going to do it at all. So this is not a fight that we would want to fight. And if we did have to fight this, then we would only really want to fight this, with the assistance of these other countries, like you said, the Philippines, South Korea, Australia, which would be interesting. Like, have you guys ever seen anything having to do with like the Australian military? Like, what does the Australian military look like? Like, you know what I think of when they're not. I mean, obviously, it's not Australia, but I think about like the Samoans, or correct me if I'm saying that wrong. They be like ho ho. They be shirtless and they have like the tribal tattoos. Very intimidating. Not in a military type of way because they don't have guns, but you know what I mean. Like, it's still very intimidating. That's what I think of when I think of like Australia's government, or like some type of like tribal, like something like that. Like, have you guys ever heard about an Australian military? I've never heard about it. I'm just gonna say that. But it says some estimates suggest that it could take the U.S. nearly a decade to adequately fill its stockpiles to fend off a Chinese invasion, a time frame that may not be enough to tamper Beijing, obviously the capital of China's, intentions or ambitions for Taiwan. Not only would reuniting Taiwan with the mainland China give Beijing a geopolitical boost, so this goes into why China even would want Taiwan so much, but it would subject the South China Sea to even more Chinese dominance, which China wants that. And like I said, we do a lot of trade down there. I think they would like to be able to be the ones that get to do all of that trade and everything, instead of having us have such an influence over there. We're cutting people off. We're saying, hey, you know what I'm saying? Don't trade with the Chinese over here. We got you. Oh, how much? You know what I'm saying? How much they selling it for? Oh, I got you for $10 less. You know what I'm saying? That kind of whole thing. And China clearly showed that they are tired of it. They said they tired of it, and they've pretty much said that they willing to go, they willing to get violent, if need be, and everything like that. But I think this is a very interesting topic. I think is definitely going to be something that we want to see, because there's a whole lot of different things that when they all come together, it can really play an impact. Now, do I think war with China or anything like that is imminent? No. But when you take in the whole Russia-Ukraine situation, China being allies with Russia, us being allies with Ukraine, when you take in them having an influence over Taiwan, who we would be defending, you know what I'm saying? Them attacking Taiwan, we not wanting that. That's even more. So that's two things that raise tension. Then when you throw the trade tension in that, you know what I'm saying? Them not liking how we're kind of closing them in trading and cutting them off from a lot of the world. They don't like that. That's three different occurrences that raise U.S. and China tensions. Now, don't even get me started on the Chinese balloons that they've been flying all over our nation and other nations, if you guys didn't know. A complete breach of our national security. And that does not make the United States happy, especially when they kind of tried to hide it from their people and got exposed. And now we looking like, so what else are you guys not telling us about, and everything like that. So I want to know what you guys think about that. I think this first topic was actually very good. Like, comment, subscribe. I see a whole bunch of people popping in and out. I appreciate that. A lot of people popping in. Pop in, say what's up, you know what I'm saying? Throw a like, you know what I'm saying? Get some more people in here. And yeah, I think this was a really good first topic. Now, the next topic that we're going to get into is going to be about possibly a new social network site, which I feel like we need a new one, because TikTok's gonna be gone. Like, I mean, TikTok's gonna be gone soon. I mean, maybe there's enough money into the US TikTok market and everything like that people are like not gonna will fight back to get to not have TikTok removed. But like I said, we just spoke on China. TikTok is a Chinese app. It's regulated on their side by the Chinese, but our TikTok isn't regulated, primarily because they want to ruin the youth of America, and they're doing a very good job of it, I would say. Like, if you've ever been on TikTok, they're doing a very good job of it. I was just watching, like, before, I was just scrolling on Instagram, and I was seeing the whole, like, Ice Spice Northwest thing. Like, bro, do we really want our kids to be on singing Ice Spice on TikTok? That making us better? Because them Asian kids over there in China, they picking up books. Their TikTok literally teaches the kids life skills. Why does our TikTok not do that? Or our TikTok does do that, but it's so overshadowed by no censorship that everything is just outwaved by people dancing and doing ridiculous things, So it's not good, but it is what it is. And Meta, it looks like they're trying to compete with Twitter. As you know, Twitter has more of that like really personal. You can just send kind of a short message, let the people know what's going on. A lot of people like it because Twitter has a very low amount of censorship, which was kind of the problem in general. But that's what a lot of people like about Twitter. I mean, it's a place to go and talk your crap and just like it's fine. You know what I'm saying? It's fine. Whereas if you try to do the same thing on like Instagram or Facebook or something like that, you will get banned a lot faster. A lot faster, you know what I'm saying? So let's see what's kind of getting into getting into this. What's going on? What are they really looking for with this? This kind of reminds me too of like YouTube, how they were forced. The word is forced. They were forced to introduce. Oh, shout out to all the people popping in. Hey, I hope you guys are having a good time and everything like that. But they were forced to bring out YouTube Shorts because TikTok was taking over the market. It was the most searched like app and everything like that. And before that, YouTube was. So they had to find a way to compete. And it looks like Meta, aka Facebook, is looking to compete. Now, will they be able to compete? That is the question. Let's see what's going on with this. A little sip of my Miller High Life. All right. So it says Meta is exploring a new decentralized, text-based social network that could compete with Elon Musk's Twitter. Tech newsletter platformer reported that the project, codename P92, would be built as a standalone app. Okay, so it wouldn't be like in Facebook or anything, but it would be its own app. But that users would log in using their Instagram credentials. Okay. This move could help Meta attract some of the Twitter users who are looking for alternatives after Musk took over and changed some of the site's rules. And I think there's a good place for that. I know a lot of my friends, when Elon came in and took over Twitter, they had a lot of problems with it. Of course, you know, there was the Twitter verification badges where it was like you could just buy your blue check mark, and you know that's BS, because like the cool thing about having a check mark is it shows your status. And you know, if you can buy one, it doesn't show your status. It's like on Instagram, you could get all the girls sliding in the DMs. If you got the check mark, they're gonna see you got the check mark. They're gonna be like, oh, who is he? But if the check mark costs $10 a month, there ain't no respect in that. You ain't getting no girls off of that. And a lot of people didn't like that Twitter was adopting that same type of policy. I think Facebook also months later adopted that same type of policy too, which was a terrible idea because it didn't work at Twitter in the first place. But I digress. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's see here. It says, we're exploring a standalone decentralized social network for sharing text updates. A Meta spokesperson told CNBC on Friday. Also, shout out to all the people that have popped in. I've already seen, says here 33 people have already popped in. So you guys have really been, you know, coming in here, you know what I'm saying, and everything like that. Appreciate that. We believe there's an opportunity for a separate space in which creators and public figures can share timely updates about their interests. The effort by Meta would expand its offerings beyond Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. Oh, I forgot they own WhatsApp too as well. And into a space that has been dominated by Elon Musk's Twitter. The project is being led by Instagram's head, Adam, I'm going to try it, Mosseri, platformer said. So yeah, it's kind of like they want that whole like personal feel that you really can't get with Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't go, okay, people do, and they're kind of ugly for it, but it's just not as good of a platform for like, let's say I'm having a lonely night. You know what I'm saying? I'm having a lonely night. I'm sad. And I just want to let the people know how I feel. You know what I'm saying? I can send out a tweet, send out a few tweets, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's going to look and they're going to be like, oh, he's going through it. Bro, I can't drop 7 Instagram posts. You know what I'm saying? 7 Instagram stories. I mean, you can, but it's just not as good as a platform for that. So it seems like they're trying to meet that demand since people are losing their trust in Elon. And you kind of can't blame them. Now it says decentralized social networks like Mastodon or Jack Dorsey-backed Blue Sky. I haven't heard about either of those, and that's probably a good reason why there aren't too many decentralized social networks, because they normally don't work out very well. But being backed by, you know, the formidable force that is Meta, you know, will help out a lot. It'll help out a lot. Now, It says rely on individual servers which use a uniform protocol, avoiding centralized control of content and possible censorship, which is what people are trying to get away from. Like, I feel like we're starting to finally get into the era where people don't want that like woke culture stuff anymore. Like, people are starting to kind of get sick of it. I mean, unless you're like, you know what I'm saying, you got blue hair and, you know, you just be mad. You be mad at Chris Rock, you know what I'm saying? Unless you got blue hair and you be mad at Chris Rock, you probably are getting kind of tired of the censorship. People are getting tired of it in their movies, getting tired of it just in general. And the box offices are actually showing that. Like, think about Disney. Think about Marvel. Marvel has been destroyed by the woke era, where people are too associated on thinking about being inclusive over actually good story writing. I would much rather have a character that actually belongs, that makes more sense, than trying to make sure that everybody's included. Guys, you don't have to have a dread-headed black guy or a strong independent black woman in every film, okay? If the story doesn't need that, let's not do that, okay? And it's getting to the point now where, like, it's just out of hand. We even made a movie about people who were some huge slave owners in The Woman King. We took a movie about a tribe that was having and killing thousands of slaves and made a movie glorifying them because it was inclusive and it showed how strong the black woman can be. Can we just get some good writing, please? I'm all one for the strong black woman, but can we have it make sense in the story? Like, why are we like... I'm just saying. I'm sorry to get off topic, but you guys get what I'm saying now. Yeah, about censorship. Now, it says it isn't clear how long Meta has been working on the P92 product, or whether the company has moved into the development process. Money Control, which first broke the story, cited a person familiar with the matter who said the idea was still a work in progress. Now it says Meta is also exploring integrations with existing social networks like Twitter or Mastodon. Mastodon, that's like a dinosaur, isn't it? In part relying on protocol called ActivityPub, Money Control reported. I think it would be really cool. I don't know how that would necessarily work because these are large, massive social media conglomerates, all by companies that, you know, don't really mess with each other because they can't from a competitive standpoint. You know, Google, Apple, Microsoft, Meta, and or Facebook, you know, all of that. You know, your Snapchat in there. Snapchat's owned by who? This is owned by one of them. But you guys know what I mean? So I think it would be really cool if there was a way to integrate all of these. That's my CNBC, you guys already know. But it would be really cool to have these integrated, but I just don't see it necessarily happening. Now, I think this raises a good point. I think it is about time for a new social media site. People are so used to the ones that we already have. I feel like right now it's very hard to start a new social media site because people are addicts, man. You know how many people are going to be devastated if TikTok gets taken off the market? They're like not going to know how to function, like, you know, and everything like that. But I want to know what you guys think about this. Do you guys think this could be good? Because then we could have something that's like Twitter, that's maybe censored a little bit more. Do you guys want more censorship and you think that's good, or less censorship? Do you guys think that possibly this could be great because they can take all the issues and everything that everybody has with Twitter and put it onto another platform, and this could possibly end up making Twitter obsolete? Who knows? But guys, I appreciate it. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, all of those for my guys watching. I appreciate everybody who's popped in. And, you know, we're going to go ahead and get into the next topic, which is going to be Trump losing the bid and more evidence coming out in his SA or grape. You know, we don't use that word here on YouTube. Basically, he was being accused of that. So we're going to look into that whole case, and now more evidence has been brought out. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what's going on with that. I'm going to grab another brew, you know what I'm saying, real quick, because we still got some more stories to get in, you know. This is a good stream. Hello, hello, hello. Let's see. Excuse me. All right. Judge in Trump defamation case allows Access Hollywood tape as evidence. Now you guys are gonna have to let me know. I'm not sure. Access Hollywood. That's like that one show that covers like a bunch of celebrity news. I believe, right? It might be on like E Network or something like that. That's what I believe it is. They'll probably let us know in here. As you guys know, it's very serious accusations and everything like that. There's our boy Trump. They chose the best possible picture of Trump that they could find, and everything like that. But yeah, let's see what's going on with this case, everything like that. Let me make my head a little bit bigger so you guys can see how good I look. I'm just playing. If I look good though, like on the video. Now, it says a federal judge on Friday ruled that the Access Hollywood tape revealing President Donald Trump bragging about groping women without their prior consent. Now, we all know that's wrong. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that, What could be used as evidence in the civil trial where he is accused of defaming the writer E. Jean Carroll after she claimed he did that to her in the mid 1990s. This was also a part of the case where they showed him a picture of her, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And this is, if it's a different case, because we all know Donald Trump is literally in so many cases. He's either suing somebody or being sued. Like, the sky is blue and Donald Trump is either suing somebody and or being sued. Now it says Judge Lewis Kaplan also ruled that the testimony from two other women, not looking good, who say that Trump, essayed them years ago in separate incidents can be introduced into evidence at a trial at the U.S. District Court in Manhattan. And you know how it is, especially with these kind of things like the Bill Cosby case. When one woman comes out, it's like, okay, she could be lying, she could have a vendetta against somebody. When another woman comes out, it's like, all right, this is starting to not look like a coincidence. Another one comes in, it's like, all right, there's got to be something here we need to look into. We need to figure this out. We can't brush this under the rug. There's multiple people, come out and, normally if that's happening, normally there's some truth to it. That's not always it. You always know with a lot of these higher class, high profile people, a lot of times, women will come out and try to get a payday. So if they see, oh, I had experiences with him in the past, like, I'm gonna go get my money too. I see she about to get her bag. But it does say a lot when multiple people are coming out and they're saying the same thing. It's not a good look, and not a good look for Trump. He'd be the first person to get charged with an essay charge or something like that and still run for president. that would be wild. And if he had to take a plea deal or was convicted of something like that and people still voted for him, that would also be wild. But people are scared of people like Biden being into office, so who knows what type of decisions people would make. Now it says Kaplan in his decision wrote, most of the evidence that Mr. Trump seeks to keep from his trial jury is to the effect that Mr. Trump has allegedly has abused or attempted to abuse women other than Miss Carroll in ways that are comparable to what he allegedly did to her. So, of course, they're pretty much just saying, hey, he doesn't want this out because it's going to make him look bad. And like I said, if you're not doing anything wrong, normally you want all those, you want all that out. You want all the evidence out. You want all the text messages, all the calls, to be exposed because in your opinion, you feel like you did nothing wrong. Never, well, okay, I wouldn't say never, but rarely ever is somebody very afraid when they know they haven't done something wrong. Normally, that's the first way you can tell if somebody's lying or not, is if they put in quite an effort to hide their lies or whatever they were saying, which is exactly what Trump is doing right now. Now, Trump, 76 years old, has denied, doing this to the now 79-year-old Carroll, who says he attacked her in a dressing room at the Bergdorf Goodman department store after a chance encounter there in 1995 or 1996. Does she not know what year it was? That's kind of weird to me. You know what I'm saying? If you have a traumatic experience and everything like that, I feel like you would at least know like what year it was, you know what I'm saying? Or in this specific moment, you can say exactly what store it is and everything like that. But I get it. You're 80 years old. Like, maybe you're just like, I get it. Like, you've been living on this earth for pretty much 80 years. You might get them a little mixed up. But I would just think, though, that would be something that you would take note of. Like, this was the year where this happened. Like, especially considering Trump's been, he's been a high power in the game since the 90s. So he was a high power in the game even back then. So, yeah, it seems a little weird to me. I would say that's kind of a red flag, but who knows? I mean, she's kind of old. Like, maybe she just doesn't remember. It's not even funny. Like, it's not even funny at all. But hopefully you guys get what I'm saying. And I want to know what you guys think about this too. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. Like, do you guys think like this is somebody just trying to like get attention, kind of come back, maybe get some money? Or you guys think Trump was really being ugly and she just waited 20 years to finally say something? Which is why I always say women, like, when stuff like this happens, you definitely need to come and just go ahead and get the kit. I don't want to say the word. Go ahead and get the kit. I know it's a very traumatic thing. I get that, but you want to go ahead and get the kit. And what I always say is the brave thing to do is to go ahead and address it right at the moment. Go straight to the police, because then that can't possibly happen to other women. If you're quiet about it and you wait 20 years later, I think that's 20 years where somebody who possibly needs to be in prison is out here in the world possibly doing this to other women. So what I say is, I don't promote the whole, oh, she's brave because she was a victim thing. What I think is brave is, even though you may be in a bad state of mind and everything, go to the police, get the kit, you know what I'm saying? Do everything like that to try to help other women out. I feel like that's true strength. You know what I'm saying? And also, that's what the person doing the crime, they want you to do that. They want you to not say anything. So you're doing them a service. You're doing a service by not saying anything. So it's just, I would definitely promote that. And I get that women don't go to police and everything like that. But when I say, like, when it's 20 years later and no one's listening to you, like, I can't feel bad. And there's no more evidence to be found because you got rid of what was the best evidence that you could have to put this person in prison where they belong. Like, I can't be in support of that. Because, it's not going to make the world a better place if everyone is quiet about these things. You got to come out and talk about it, even though I understand that can be very traumatic, that can be very painful, everything like that. Now, it says that Carol's suit alleges that Trump defamed her in 2019 after she went public with her claim by saying she was lying and motivated by politics and money to make up the account. In other words, Ms. Carol offers the evidence to show that Mr. Trump has a propensity for such behavior. Basically saying, hey, if he did this to me, you guys don't believe me, but here's other occurrences of where he did that. So I'm not the only one. And since I'm not the only one, that makes me more justified to say what I'm saying. And it makes me more believable, which is good, I think that's really good. I wish she hadn't have came out so late. I think that's the negative in it. Shout out to the Miller High Lifes. Guys, if you're watching this and you like Miller High Lifes, throw a like. And if you don't like Miller High Lifes, still throw a like. But let's see. It says the Access... Okay, so now we're getting into this Access Hollywood tape. What was on this tape? Why do they want to hide it, sir? Trump, what are you hiding, sir? Now, it only became public just before the 2016 election when he was first seeking the presidency, which is a little interesting too, like, oh, he's running for president. Now this tape comes out, that's something to think about. I'm thinking about it objectively. I'm thinking about it from both sides. You know what I'm saying? And everything about that. I'm thinking about it from her side, and I'm trying to think about it from Trump's side too, because these are still alleged. He hasn't been convicted of anything. So we do still have to give him a slight benefit of the doubt, even though, like, you never know. I could definitely see Trump coming through and hitting a little patter on the booty. Yeah, I could see it, but like I said, it's alleged, so I'm not saying she's right. I'm not saying he's right. What we want to do is we just want to look at the facts, talk about what we think, and then when the facts actually come out, then we'll hopefully justice is served. Now, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful women. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just kiss. I don't even wait. Here I was just defending this man a little bit. Now I feel like I gotta take a sip. Bro, what? How you just gonna say that? I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. I don't even wait. You can't say that. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. And the famous quote, grab them by the pee. So this is where this came into play. Okay. So that's where that quote really comes from. Now, he has repeatedly claimed that his remarks on the tape are locker room talk and do not reflect his actual conduct. I don't know about that. Me and my homies don't get together and talk about we just kissing girls and touching them without their consent, or if I like her, I'm gonna just go get her. Like, bro, we don't talk like that. That's not. Don't write that off to locker room talk, Trump. Don't. I ain't never. I used to play soccer. I've been in a lot of locker rooms, man. Okay, that sounds kind of sweet, but I've been in a lot of locker rooms and had a lot of conversations with the boys, and never is that okay. That's the type of thing where I feel like most men groups, whether females or people like to believe it, but I know the guys will vouch for me, and by the guys I mean just men around the world will vouch if somebody says something like that. Like, let's say we're all watching the game and somebody says something like that, bro, we about to look at you like you're crazy. Like, we're gonna be like, wait, he said what? Like, and then we're probably gonna get on you for that too. We're gonna be like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, bro, what? I just don't even wait. I just kiss them. Doesn't matter who they are. They love me when you're a star. You can do anything. Like, dang, what's wrong with you? It's not good. Not a good look for Trump. Not a good look for Trump at all. Now it says, but Kaplan in his ruling wrote, in this case, a jury reasonably could find, even from the Access Hollywood tape alone, that he admitted in the Access Hollywood tape that he, in fact, has had contact with the women's genitalia in the past without their consent, or that he has attempted to do so. Which could be interesting. But also too, it's like, is it that woman? You know what I'm saying, and everything like that. Does he mention names? That's why we'll really want to know. That's why we need these tapes released. Like, is he talking about a specific situation? Now that would be interesting if he was talking about a particular situation, and everything like that. Because I don't know if that alone, without something else, would be enough to convict him of anything. But I don't know. Can we get our lawyers in the chat? Like, we need our lawyers in the chat. Because I'm just not sure, Now it says, because of that and other evidence, the tape satisfies a rule that allows evidence of another SA to be introduced in a civil case involving a alleged SA. Kaplan, for the same reason, ruled that claims against Trump by two other women who have given depositions in this case, Jessica Leeds and Natasha Stoyanov, could be heard by jurors. So it's not looking good for Trump, but you already know, we've been saying, like, Trump is like, when it comes to ducking and dodging cases, like, this man has some type of power like no other. He's like the Floyd Mayweather of court cases. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm out of here. Oh, now you can catch me. No, you can't. You know what I'm saying? Everything like that. Like, he is the king of that. So, it says Leeds testified in her deposition that oh, wow. All the way back in 1979, she says Trump tried to kiss her, grabbed her, them chicken breasts, and put his... What did I do? What did I just do? Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. And it's not... This isn't even funny. This is actually quite serious. And he put his hand up her skirt on an airplane after a stewardess invited her to sit next to him in first class. So we're hearing stuff from the 90s. We're hearing stuff from the 80s. Like, this is coming out in 2020. It's like, man, like, when you have this much going against you, it's like there's got to be something to you, you know what I'm saying, and everything like that. I get it. If you're in power, yes, sometimes women will come in, sometimes numbers, in a way to, get a quick cash grab, maybe get their name out there. There's been a lot of cases like that where people have had false allegations. But when it's two, is three, is four, you really got to take a look into that case. You really got to look at the evidence, because you don't want somebody like that walking around with that type of mindset, walking around and not being in prison. And if you are that type of person and you feel like you can just take what you want from people's bodies like that, you know where you need to be? In prison. So, now, she testified that in 2005, so she had actually already testified this. When she was writing an article for the People magazine about his 1-year wedding anniversary with Melania Trump, he grabbed her, pushed her against a wall, and began kissing her in a room at his Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach, Florida. Dang, he's had that Mar-a-Lago crib for a while. And of course, the Mar-a-Lago crib always has to come into the play. As you guys know, that's where he literally had thousands of executive documents that were classified at chilling at his Mar-a-Lago home. Well, after he was even the president. Like, you know what I'm saying, and everything like that. But it's pretty ugly. The Mar-a-Lago home at this point it's time to sell it, bro. It's just bad. It's bad news. It's bad luck. It hasn't done anything for you. But he's attached to it. But yeah, I really would like to see how this goes in the future, and everything like that. And Trump's attorney declined to comment. You know why they declined to comment? Because this isn't a good look. They over there working full time. Trump's got teams of lawyers probably paying out thousands of dollars, if not a day, just to protect himself and to keep himself out of jail. One of his business associates already went to prison and got sentenced for 3 months. Got sentenced for 3 months on either like tax fraud or something along those. I don't want to put it on him, and everything like that, but Trump's been dealing with so much cases from voter fraud, election fraud, to things like this. He's suing somebody for $50 million, when they what was it? It was like they wrote a book on him or something like that, and he didn't like that they used all of the footage. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comments. Shout out to you guys that are in there and everything like that. Hope you guys are having a great day. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments and everything like that. Leave that below about like this whole like what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is some women possibly coming out for clout? They're kind of past their prime. They're 70, 80 years old, and like maybe they just want some more money. Maybe they want some attention. They used to have attention back in the day. Or do you guys think Trump is just a disgusting human being, and now some of his past is just coming back to bite him? You know what I'm saying? And everything like that. I also want to know what you guys think about the whole thing of, like we said, when you're a woman, I mean, obviously a man can deal with the same things too. I guess any person dealing with some type of essay or grape, you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. Like, what do you guys think? Like, you guys think the main thing is like, go get the kid, like go to the police as fast as you possibly can? Or are you guys kind of more of those people who are like, hey, well, she's under a lot of stress, she's under a lot of duress, that's why she may not have said something, she may be scared, and everything like that? Because in my personal opinion, I feel that the true strength, and I understand everybody's not going to have that strength, but I would just say for my ladies out there, I think the true strength really comes from sorry, I was about to say something else. Put that degenerate in jail. Put that man in prison. If it actually happens, go get the case within or the kit as fast as you can. Go to the police as fast as you can, so that can't happen to any more women and everything like that. Now, I don't know if that counts as like victim blaming or if it sounds bad, but I just think that we really need to start pushing our females young, and even teaching them at a young age, if something like this happens to you, Lord forbid, obviously, Lord forbid, please go to the police so we can get these people off the streets. I'm gonna leave that at that. Like, comment, subscribe, everything else. Yeah, I got a little crust in my eye, goddamn, a little crusty. All right, these topics have been hitting today. And next on our list, let's see, I'm about to hit a little bit of my brew, is about Russia possibly trying to influence the United States and basically trying to influence our elections. They pretty much said that they already influenced it in 2022 and possibly 2020, and they coming back for vengeance. They coming back for what is it? Round 2, fight. You know what I'm saying? And everything like that. So let's take a look at this, see what's going on with that. And you could get with this, and you could get with that. And you could get with this, and you could get with that. And you could get with this, and you could get with that. And you could get with... See, that's some Kappa shoulders. So I'm not a Kappa, but my family Kappas, you know what I'm saying? So I still inherited the shoulders, you know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know about that. Y'all don't know about them Kappa shoulders with the canes? Yeah, y'all don't know about that. Y'all don't know about that. And definitely let me know in the comments if you do know about that. Because that means I already mess with you. And that means you probably mess with me too, Kappa people. Shout out to Rictavius. Shout out to Ricky. Real Kappas. Real steppers. You feel me? Real steppers. Y'all don't know about that. Now let's see. Let's break it down. Now, Russia tried to influence U.S. elections in 2022 and will do it again, the nation's top intel agency says. There's our boy Vladimir Putin. He's looking kind of down because he thought this war with Ukraine would be over in a month or two, and it's been going very hard and bankrupting his entire country. And he's probably wondering why he even did this. The only reason he's pretty much doing it at this point is just because of his ego. And yeah, I would be looking like that too if I failed my people. If I failed my people, caused them to lose tons of lives, ruined our economy. Boy, I'm on you, boy. Boy, I'm on you, bro. Like, he's ugly. Now you got to go down in history with this on your belt. The failed, you know what I'm saying? The failed attack of Ukraine. Because I feel like even if Russia at this point, let's say they did overtake Ukraine, they probably took so many economical hits that it just wasn't worth it. Is Ukraine really worth all of that? Maybe to Russia. But is it worth going bankrupt? Having the rest of the world pretty much outlaw you, except for China. China's cool with you. Now let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on here. Now it says Russia conducted malign influence operations in the 2022 U.S. midterm elections and is using increasingly clandestine means to penetrate the Western information environment. The U.S. intelligence community said in a new report Wednesday. Basically, they're going to try to manipulate the votes. I would assume that they would want to manipulate it so that Trump would win. Because as you guys know, Trump gets along with Russia quite well. And I'm sure he would much rather work with somebody who's going to work with him than somebody who's not. And as we know, Joe Biden just kind of goes to sleep at all these meetings. So he's a pretty difficult guy to work with, you know. Because you got to wake him up every like 5 seconds. Like, hey, he's like, foreign policy. Y'all remember when he fell off that bike? Let me stop. Let's get back to it now. Moscow will also work to strengthen ties to Americans in media and politics as it works to carry out future influence operations. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence said in the latest edition of its annual assessment of worldwide threats to U.S. national security. So what I'm getting from that is this doesn't necessarily mean straight election fraud. It means that essentially they'll try to manipulate the United States people or change the way that we think through propaganda. You know what I'm saying? You get a few Russian people to come, you know, say a few things to media, maybe push a few agendas and everything like that. The media comes, they hop on your CNN, your CNBC, all of that. They push it out to the people. The people think differently, and then that makes them vote differently. You know what I'm saying? And that's a good way that Russia would possibly go against it. And that seems like U.S. intelligence seems to think that's what they plan on doing. Now it says the 2023 report came 4 months after most recent midterm elections, where concerns about Russian influence effort were more muted in comparison with the two previous presidential election cycles in 2016 and 2020. I do think this is kind of interesting there too, because I really didn't hear too much about election tampering from the Russians in the midterm elections in 2022 and everything like that. But I heard a ton in 2016 and 2020, especially, you know what I'm saying, and everything like that. So It's crazy to think that they be manipulating a lot of our elections. I wonder how much also this happens like around the world where like we don't really know it, but countries are possibly paying off the media or paying somebody to push a certain type of agenda so that possibly somebody else could get elected, or influencing the civilians of a certain country to kind of feel a certain type of way. It's almost like it's like a form of social warfare is what I would call it. Propaganda, social warfare. If you can make a country hate their president, then those are people that won't fight for their president, at least not as hard. There's a country that won't work as hard for them. So it's almost kind of like how China is kind of using TikTok to ruin the US's youth and make them kind of stupid so they're not as hard to deal with in the future, which is actually working. But you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Should I coin the term? I'm sure our social studies teachers and everything like that already have a term for it. But for now, I'm going to go with the term of social warfare. Propaganda, even, you could call it. Now, it says the intelligence community found that Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered a influence campaign in the 2016 election with a clear preference for then candidate Donald Trump, who would go on to win that race. So this gets real sticky. It's like, ooh, how much can I trust my vote? Everything like that, which has only really started to come around within the last 10 years where people are like, whoa, people are talking about election fraud. Does my vote actually not like matter? Like, oh, Russians are influencing the US election. Like, does my vote not matter? Is my vote weaker and everything like that? Trump won. Putin wanted him there. And we saw after that, they like best friends. They as best friends as two nations that I wouldn't say hate each other, but don't get along can be. So, I mean, call it what you want, but it doesn't look, it's a coincidence, I would say. It's an interesting coincidence, I would say. Now, yeah, my nose is itchy, y'all. Like, jeez. Okay. Trump, who during this campaign had called on Russia to find his then rival Hillary Clinton's emails, later questioned whether Russia interfered in the 2016 election. During a meeting with Putin in 2018, Trump indicated that he believed the Russian leader's claim that the Kremlin did not meddle into the 2016 race, essentially siding with Putin's stance over his own intelligence community's assessment. Trump later backtracked on those remarks. This is all bad looks, you know what I'm saying? We should see this coming though, as far as national security. You should see this coming, but you already know we're a large power. Russia's a large power. So you never know how hard it could be to defend against things like this, because you don't necessarily see it coming. Now, it said ahead of last November's midterms, researchers reportedly identified Russian efforts to interfere by using social media accounts, posing as okay, so this is maybe how some of this went down. Posing as Americans to stoke partisan anger and undermine trust in the electoral process, which I think either way it goes, trust is kind of lost, because even just hearing this news, whether it's true or not, in the back of everyone's head is, well, it could be true. And if it is true, then that means the voting process is flawed, which is what our democracy is completely built on, Now, the FBI and the Department of Justice's cybersecurity agency had warned ahead of midterms that foreign actors were likely to try and spread disinformation before and after Election Day. The office, which oversees the nation's 18 intelligence agencies, added that the latest warning about Russian election meddling was starker and more certain than in its previous report. Wow, my voice kind of cracked there, huh? For instance, the office determined that Russia almost certainly sees U.S. elections as opportunities to malign influence and influence its foreign policy goals. Moscow will also probably try to cultivate relationships with U.S. figures in politics and the media in hopes of developing vectors for future influence operations. In the 2023 edition, the agency dropped the words almost certainly and probably from its assessment. So they pretty much went out and said this is law. This is fact that they are meddling. Now it says the report added Russia's influence actors have adapted their efforts to increasingly hide their hand. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be outwards. Like, it's going to be things like like they said, social media posts, social media accounts that look like Americans that are pushing agendas when really it's, a bunch of Russians making tons of accounts and just pushing out that agenda, which is kind of scary when you think about it. Because if the government's involved, think of how many accounts they could have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of accounts making posts that make people think differently about the election than they would normally think. You know, a vast ecosystem of Russian proxy websites, individuals, and organizations that appear to be independent news sources. Though creating original content or seizing disclosure, these activities can include disseminating false content, like making false posts, and amplifying information perceived as beneficial to Russian influence efforts or conspiracy theories. Now, it says Russia's already tense relationships with the U.S. We already know that's going on. Russia, China, they hate us over here. You already know. Have been hugely strained by the country's invasion of Ukraine. The intelligence community warned in its threat assessment that Russia, which holds the world's largest stockpile of nuclear weapons, is continuing to develop long-range nuclear-capable missiles, which no one is trying to hear about these long-range capable missiles, and everything like that. Obviously, they can't pull them out. They're dealing with this whole Ukraine thing. They definitely don't want to start fights elsewhere while we still got this whole situation going on. Like, they while they're fighting with Ukraine, they don't also want to be fighting with Great Britain, the United States, all of our allied powers. And even though China may help them out in the mix, it's just not a good it's not a good look. They thought they were going to take over Ukraine in a clean sweep, and it wasn't a clean sweep at all. If anything, it was a terrible sweep. Now their country's like in debt. I'm not sure if they're necessarily in debt, but they spent way too much money that they could. You know what I'm saying? The Russian dollar, or whatever you call it. What is the Russian dollar called? We're on live. We're on live. Russian currency. The ruble. The ruble. Let's see what it's called. To USD. Wow, oh my gosh. The Russian coin has gotten destroyed. Oh yeah. Compared to the dollar. One Russian ruble is 0.013 of the, so it doesn't really have anything on the United States dollar. But especially after this war, they just fought a war, Now it says they hold the, long-range capable missiles. So I want to know what you guys think about this. Like, what do you guys think? How do you guys think about the elections now that we have Trump saying so much about voter election fraud and everything like this? Now the U.S. intelligence is saying, yes, Russia had a part to play in influencing the votes, not necessarily stealing votes or anything like that, but that they're all in our social media, they're all in our news networks and that like that, manipulating and trying to play a narrative that works for them and not necessarily for the United States of America, and we could be doing the same to other countries too. You never know. But I want to know what you guys think about this and everything like that. I think it's very interesting to know that, other countries are doing this. And this is why you can't listen to all media. This is why you got to take media really with a grain of salt. You got to look at the story, see what's going on, take a step back, think for yourself. And then once you sat and had, a nice cup of tea, of hot tea by yourself, then you can make a decision on how you really feel about the subject and everything like that. Yeah. But yeah, guys, definitely like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy these videos, these topics and everything like that. We're going to be going live at least 4 or 5 days a week and everything like that. And now we're getting into our last final story, which is about to be about Signature Bank, which is one of those Silicon Valley banks. As we know, Silicon Valley has pretty much... there was that whole Silicon Valley bank collapse, essentially the same type of thing as the whole FTX thing where, somebody essentially comes in, they take the customer's money, they spend it in ways they shouldn't, or they're trading it and they're investing it and things like that. Then when the customer comes back and he's like, hey, bro, where my $10 at? I gave you $10. They like, we only have $5. Then everybody gets word of that. Oh, wait, what? You couldn't get your money back from Bank of America? Like, what? Oh, no, I'm about to go get my money right now. And then they collapse. And then they have to get bailed out by the government, you know? But let's see what's going on with this. Now, this isn't necessarily, I don't believe, about the whole Silicon Valley bank collapse, but I believe this is the trickle down effect that this is going to have. I think this is a very big indicator of how our economy is doing right now. With banks failing, you haven't seen these type of bank failing since 2008. And as we know, 2008 was when the housing crisis was going on. So this is really bad. If you guys think that this is going to be the first bank or the second bank or the third bank that we're seeing go through something like this, nah. This is only the beginning. Is really part one of a 4-part series. You know what I'm saying? If this was Harry Potter, we on like book 3, book 2. You know what I'm saying? He isn't really even grown up like that. You know? All right, all right. All right, so it says on Friday, Signature Bank, customers spooked by the sudden collapse of Silicon Valley Bank withdrew more than $10 billion in deposits, a board member told TNBC. And this is really, really bad for banks, guys. As you guys know, banks are supposed to have cash on hand for all the cash that comes in. You give them $100, that means that they need to have an additional $100 to your $100 just in case you want to take one out. So if they play with your $100, they still have money to, give you if you want your $100 because they're using your $100 for other things. But a lot of banks don't have that because they don't anticipate that so many people will come through and try to get their money off the rip. But when people see stuff like this, like the Silicon Valley Bank, and they see, oh, geez, is my money maybe not as safe as I thought it was and everything like that, people come, they start withdrawing their money, and if the bank can't handle it, then they collapse. And that's what Signature Bank is getting hit with, because they had to withdraw more than $10 billion in deposits. Now it says that run on deposits quickly led to the third largest bank failure in U.S. history. Let's take a drink to that. Whoa. In U.S. history, regulators announced that late Sunday that Signature was being taken over to protect its depositors and the stability of the U.S. financial system. This is not good, people. This is not good. Now, the sudden move shocked executives of Signature Bank, a New York-based institution with deep ties to the real estate and legal industries, said board member and U.S. Republican Barney Frank. Signature had 40 branches, assets of over $110.36 billion. Excuse me. And, excuse me again. And deposits of $88.59 billion at the end of 2022, according to a regulatory filing. So they have assets of 110, so obviously they should be able to, pay out this $10 billion and everything like that. But guys, this is a problem. When people are pulling money out of their banks that fast, it's a problem. It's not a good look at all, especially in the economy that we're in. Now it says, we have no indication of problems until we get a deposit run late Friday, which was purely contagion from SVB, which is, the Silicon Valley Bank. Problems for U.S. banks with exposure to the frothiest. When I'm thinking about frothy, I'm thinking about like a Starbucks, like coffee, like the cream on the top, like it's frothy, like very frothy texture, But it's an interesting way to use it. Asset classes of the, I guess it means like the thickest, like thick like Ice Spice. COVID pandemic, crypto and tech startups boiled over last week with the wind down of the crypto-centric Silvergate Bank. While that firm's demise had been long expected, it helped ignite a panic about banks with high levels of uninsured deposits. Venture capital investors and founders drained their Silicon Valley bank accounts Thursday, leading to its seizure from the government midday Friday. Now, it said that led to pressure on Signature, First Republic, and other names late last week on fears that uninsured deposits could be locked up or you lose value, either of which could be fatal to startups. And it seems like right now, I would say this seems to be secluded to, like they said, crypto banks, banks that aren't going to be as insured or as backed by the government as something, like Bank of America or Citigroup or something like that, because they're kind of, in a way, you could almost call them more prestigious in a way. Is they're banks that people in Silicon Valley would go to. They're banks that richer people would go to. Banks that crypto people would go to. Just banks that the average everyday American probably wouldn't have, and everything like that. But some of the benefits that make it the reason that you would want that could also be your downfall, and that's kind of what's happening here. A lot of times you can take on more risks using these type of banks and everything like that, and a lot of the risk that you take on, which can allow you to potentially make a lot more money or possibly protect it from things like, you being sued and everything like that, can also come in a negative light when it's things like this and the bank isn't as insured or it's not as government backed and everything like that. Now it says Signature Bank was founded in 2001 as more business friendly alternative to the big banks. It expanded to the West Coast and then opened itself up to the crypto industry in 2018, which helped turbocharge deposit growth in recent years. They created 24/7 payments network for crypto clients and has 16.5 billion in deposits from digital asset related customers. Yes, sir. Now, but it says, as waves of concern spread late last week, Signature customers moved deposits to bigger banks, including JP Morgan Chase and Citigroup. So basically, they thought it would be cool to have, kind of like a Swiss bank account. You know what I'm saying? Just some bank that has more features, for possibly business owners and or the wealthy, or the upper class and everything like that. Now they want to throw their money back into... Now they want to go back to the Bank of America's, the Citigroups, which you can't really blame them because right now they're good. But I do think that this is going to start having an effect on just normal banks and things like that. When people really feel those financial pressures, obviously the economy's bad. It's harder for them to trade and invest your money and everything like that, which means they're probably losing a lot of money. And the only reason they're not getting exposed is because everybody isn't going to Bank of America talking about, hey, I need to get all my money out. Because if they were, I guarantee you Bank of America would be exposed to like right now. You feel me? You feel me? You feel me? Now it says, Signature executives explored all avenues to shore up its situation, including finding more capital, engaging interest from potential acquirers. The deposit exodus has slowed by Sunday, and they believe the situation had become, stabilized, essentially, and everything like that. When your customers come and you're a bank and they ask for the money, you got to have it. So they're saying, okay, we went through the hard part, probably lose a few $1 billion with customers coming in, taking all their money out. Now it's kind of stabilizing. People will be putting money back in, which helped that and everything like that. But I think this is the beginning of the end. I think the whole Silicon Valley thing was just the start to what's probably going to be a lot of bank crashes. I just foresee in the formidable future. Now it says, instead, Signature's top managers have been summarily removed and the bank was shuttered Saturday. Regulators are now conducting a sales process for the bank while guaranteeing that customers will have access to deposits and service will continue interrupted. Now, the poster child. I wonder what would be considered the poster child. I would think that Silicon Valley Bank would be the poster child, or what do you call it, like the scapegoat, the one to help us all kind of understand what's going on with these situations, because they're the first one, kind of like with the crypto scams. Now FTX is known as the main one, and when they crack down on any other type of crypto scams or anything like that, they're definitely going to reference the FTX scam and kind of think about it and process it, like that. Now let's see why it says poster child. The move raised some eyebrows among observers in the same Sunday announcement that identified SVB and Signature Bank as risks to financial stability. Regulators announced new facilities to shore up confidence in the country's other banks. Another bank that had been under pressure in recent days, First Republic, declared that it had more than $70 billion in untapped funding from the Federal Reserve and JP Morgan Chase. This is ridiculous. Why do they have all that? Like this is the point where it's like the US wants to keep the banks running so bad that they're just giving them so much money. It's almost like an unlimited money. Like, oh, we'll just print more for you. Like Jerome Powell, that's why I have him on the thumbnail of this. Like, oh, we'll just print more money. Like, what you need? What you need? Like, what you need? I got it. You know what I'm saying? It's like the neighborhood drug dealer. Like, what do you need? You need this? You need this? You need Tylenol? You need Tylenol? You need Plan B? You need a snack? Like, bro, what? What are you talking about? But he said, for his part, Frank, who helped draft the landmark Dodd-Frank Act after the 2008 financial crisis, said there was no real objective reason that Signature had to be seized. I think a part of what happened was that regulators want to send a very strong anti-crypto message. That's actually pretty interesting. We became the poster boy because there was no insolvency based on the fundamentals. And I would say I could actually believe this. The government has been cracking down on a lot of crypto. Governments haven't really liked it, which makes a lot of sense because crypto is a decentralized currency, which will make you get away from your country's currency, which the country has control of. Obviously, they don't want to really promote things that they don't have control of when they have the option to promote what they do have control of. So this is something that I could definitely see. You know, they're being a little biased, you know what I'm saying, for that reason. So guys, I want to hear what you guys think about this and everything like that. Very interesting stories that we've had today, you know, from China in the military to Russia, you know, influencing the election fraud to even Signature Bank and Silicon Valley Bank's collapse and what that could possibly mean for the recession and, you know, the economy of the United States in the future. If you guys like this type of content, definitely like, comment, subscribe. I want to know what you guys think about this whole situation and everything like that. And if you just want to say hi, just say hi. You know what I'm saying? I always respond to all the comments and everything like that. And they genuinely bring a smile on my face and make my day better. So I appreciate you guys for that. I hope you guys have had a great night. Shout out to all the people that popped into the stream. I definitely appreciate that. We're really growing on this channel over here. And I've been doing this for, you know, a few years now. So, you know, just seeing the growth is just a beautiful thing. I enjoy doing this. So I'd be doing this regardless of if I had 1 subscriber or if I had 30,000, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep coming with the content for y'all. And if y'all like the content, keep liking and subscribing to show me support and bring more people to this channel. So you guys all have a great day. It's been a great stream. I love you guys and y'all all have a great and blessed day.